Hello to all of you. The purpose of this video is to look at how we can change and manage our mood. And I don't know about you, but before I started the charity, founded a children and young persons charity in 2009. And since then, we've supported a lot of young people and their families and showed them how to manage their mental health and their well-being. And so for me, before all of this, I didn't know how to manage my mood. I was a teacher, and sometimes I would get up in the morning, prepare myself, mark my books, plan my lessons, go into the classroom, and I'd be there in the classroom and I'd say something, and then sneakily, I heard one of the young people say something that, oh, she's in a good mood, oh, she's in a bad mood. And in that moment, that was the classification. But because before that, I hadn't really spoken with anybody, or, I was just going through the motions of coming into work, I was none the wiser about my moods. My moods just wasn't really important. Um, and then since the untimely death of my brother, and I founded the mental health charity because for me, as a science teacher, before all of this, I was happy to go to schools as a consultant and raise standards of teaching and learning and science grades, because for me, that was a passport. When my brother died, it just wasn't enough. Um, you can have all of the qualifications in the world, but if you can't manage or you're not able to manage your mental health and well-being, then that's not a really powerful way to start your life, or certainly on the springboard or continuing from childhood to adulthood. So that's when I started the charity and I founded the charity. And that's what we do with young people, showing them how to measure their mood and manage their mood. Because a lot of young people we were working with thought, like one said to me, for example, well, my doctor diagnosed me with generalized anxiety. There's nothing that can be done. That's how it is. And that's wrong, because there's many things that you can do to manage it and change it. So in today's video, we're going to look at the tools that we use in the foundation to help young people manage their mental health and well-being, which inadvertently as well have been used by adults. So their parents come to me and say, this is great. We've used this I use it to manage my mood, because it's something that we just don't do. So first of all, I want to share with you. So my name's Jackie Campbell, and I founded Julian Campbell Foundation in 2009. And in the foundation, we support a lot of children and young people manage their mental health and well-being. And we've done that in one-on-one through mood mentoring. So we train up mentors, and it's an accredited qualification. And the mood mentors go into schools and online and in the community, and they show young people how to manage their mental health and well-being. And also we do drama workshops and dance workshops, because this is a really great way I've found for young people that find it difficult to express themselves, for them to express themselves kinesthetically through movement, and they can manage their moods and well-being in that way. So first of all, I want to tell you a bit about mental health and more specifically mood. So I'm going to share with you something that we developed at the foundation. And it's called the JCF, Julian Campbell Foundation Mood Map. So what is a mood map? A mood map measures two things. There's a measurement of two things: is how much or how little energy you have, and how are you feeling in that moment? Are you feeling rubbish or really negative? Or are you feeling really, really positive and really, really good? And it's those two things, how much or how little energy you've got, and your mood, your pleasantness, that give you the mood in that moment. And for some of you that might not be able to do this, let's just have a little check-in. So for me at this moment in time, I'd say I'm feeling pretty low mood. And I mean that in a way that I'm quite calm. So let's see, can you see my cursor? Let's have a look. Yeah, there's my cursor there. So I would say that I am in the yellow, definitely. I could be even in the yellow, in the green, but more in the yellow. And I'm feeling pretty blessed. So I'm feeling really positive, but not lots and lots of energy. I wouldn't say that I'm up here and I'm thrilled and I'm bouncing about. I'd say that I'm feeling blessed, I'm feeling cheerful, and my level of energy isn't high. I'm not hyped or gassed. I'm down here. And just in case you're wondering how we've used this mood map, we worked with a group of teenagers and we spoke with them about moods, and we got them to actually um, we got them to say, well, describe really what they would say if for each particular mood, because as adults we have a lot of adjectives to describe our mood in the moment. And what I found through this exercise is young people use less words to explain a greater variety of things. So these words that we've got here, so we can see up here that we've got hyped and gassed, for example. If somebody's got sauce, we changed it to saucy. Somebody's got sauce, that means that they'd be feeling really confident. Raw, that somebody feeling surprised, zoned. So all of these would be what teenagers and young people in their 20s would be using when we use the mood map with them. So yeah, so let's just have a little check-in. Where are you now? So to do that, I just want to explain more of the graph. So I've said here that I'm on the yellow side. So that is on this side up here. So it's on the top right-hand side. And that would be lots of energy and feeling really positive. Then as you go down to the green side, that means that you're still feeling positive and low energy. So you might be feeling like that after you've done an exercise activity, if you've come out of yoga or something like that. You're feeling like, or you've run, or and then you're feeling really, really calm. And then we've got the other side. So if you look on the other side, look up here, the red side. So this is high energy and negative, like when you've got high energy and rubbish. So when you're stressed about something, when you're anxious about something, when you're overwhelmed about something, you'd be up here. And you can see some of them. If we look at the mood map, we can see panic, shock, scared, all of these, angry, disgusted, annoyed, confused. All of these are pretty high up there, high energy emotions or moods. And then if we go down to the bottom here, so we've still got like the negative, like feeling rubbish and low energy. And so in that section, we have the moods of feeling sad, emotional, in your feelings, lonely, grieving, exhausted, slumped. As you can see, the little face down here, depressed. That would be in the far corner, low energy and really, really low mood, or just feeling negative or rubbish. So all of these really can depict your mood. So where are you now in the mood map? Just take a second, and if you're not able to be specific, can you point yourself to a mood? So would it be red? Would it be yellow? Would it be green? And would it be blue? And then and we're going to have some regular check-ins as we go through. And then we are, at the end, we will finish with a check-in. Then I'll have a task for you. And the reason why I'm doing this, a lot of people have asked, because this is what we use with our young people, but also parents come to us and they get trained how to use it. And we have an accredited training, and our mentors, our mood mentors, are trained how to use it, and they use it themselves, because you have to be able to use something yourselves and know the advantages and disadvantages and how to maximize the benefits before you can really train somebody else how to use it. And with our drama workshops, we use this as well, and we would divide the classroom into a mood map with the different colors and the different moods there, and that's how it works. So I just want to tell you a little bit about this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop sharing the mood map. And I want to share a booklet that we use with the young people, just so you can get an idea of what we're, what we're actually going to be doing. And why would this be useful for you? Lots of us do not know the impact of certain things that we're doing on our mood. Sometimes we will, before I started using the mood map, um, I had chronic fatigue, and I used to have so much energy. I took it for granted, and I would throw it all over the place, and I would be fulfilling certain tasks, doing lots of things, driving all over London, doing lots of things. And it's only one day, one morning, I woke up and I couldn't get up and I couldn't get out of bed. I realized then the importance. I didn't see it coming. Looking back, I can see that through the year, and all of this could have been part of my brother dying and me learning to accept it and adapt to it and be with it. So I was grieving. But what was going on was that in the year before this happened, I was going to bed earlier and I was waking up later. And then I remember I was spending my weekends, most of them in bed, but I didn't see all of that. I just kind of like went from day to week, just seeing this was normal. So one day I couldn't wake up, and I couldn't get up out of bed anymore, and it was a problem. And this it was a problem because I was a carer, and so I had to care for another family member as well as caring for myself. And it took me a few months. It was about 8 months, and I was unable to get out of bed much and do things, and I just didn't understand what was going on. And then, because I'd already started the charity, I remember we had Dr. Liz Miller on Lizzie, and we were working together, me because I was a teacher and Lizzie because she was a doctor and a surgeon. We wrote a training program together, and we looked at what we could do to put this into the community. But first of all, it was important I tried it myself. And so that's what I did. So for it was almost a year, every day I measured my mood. And I measured my mood 4 times a day, in the morning, in the early afternoon, late afternoon, and evening. And then I got to see patterns. And then I got to see where my mood was depending on certain things that I did. And then I could start planning forwards. And then I could start changing things, changing the way that I ate, changing what I was actually doing physically so I could adapt. So I'm just going to share with you our mood map booklet. This is what we use with our young people. And so first of all, it talks about, let's just have a bigger version for myself. It talks about what mood is, and that's what I was saying before. Like, mood is a mixture of two things, like how much or how little energy we've got and how we're feeling. Are we feeling really, really positive, or are we feeling really, really rubbish? And it's those two things, our energy and how we're feeling, that give us the moods in that moment. So it's really good to see that. And then I'm going to go to the next page. And so this is our JCF mood map, which I showed you before. And then in this booklet, it starts describing and explaining the different sections of the mood map. So I've already said to you before, like, these colors, that the yellow and the red, they're both high energy emotions, moods. So yellow would be when you're high energy and your positive mood. The red would be when you're high energy and your negative mood. And quite a lot of us find ourselves in this mood. And there's nothing wrong with being in this mood, but it doesn't work if we're in this mood or in this section for too long. So I'm going to say a little bit more about that later. Let's just go to another page, because then we will then share the other two. So these are the low energy kind of sections. So we've got green, where you're low energy and good mood after you've done some exercise or activity. And then we have the blue, which is the low energy, low mood, when you're feeling low, and you could even be feeling depressed with all of that. So let me just tell you a little bit more about, let's just go forward. So this would be you checking in. So if you could check in again, please. I'm just going to add the mood map. Have a check in again. Where are you? Are you still in the same place as you were before? So I was in the yellow. So I was feeling quite blessed, and I'm still feeling quite positive, low mood. So that's really good. So I just want to speak and share a little bit more about the mood map, how we use the mood map, and how, and how we can benefit from here. So I said to you that what I was doing was I was measuring my mood 4 times a day. So when I woke up in the morning, when I woke up in the morning, and quite often than not, I was here. Like, can you see this little emoji here that's got the cup of coffee? That could have been me in the morning. And then I would go up here, and I would be in the red during the day. And then I would be later on in the evening or the day, I would be low energy, low mood, because I'm feeling quite tired. So I'd be down here again, preparing myself for bed. And the beauty of it is that it's really important for you to measure your mood 4 times a day, and do it for at least 2 weeks. And I'll speak more. Let me share the booklet again, because this is what we'll be doing here. So day one, so you could start tomorrow, for example, and that would be your day one. And so you would just be measuring and just put a cross there, or a little face in the section where you feel you are. And then you would do the same thing on day two, and then you would carry on day three, day four, at day five, day six, and you would carry on doing that. Then you'll start seeing patterns. And then when you start seeing patterns, then you can really start doing things about it. So, for example, when you measure your mood, you might see yourself in the red section all the time. And if you're in the red section all the time, then that would mean, let's add the mood map again. If you're in the red section all the time, now this comes, we'll talk about the science bit. So you're in a low mood because there's more adrenaline there. And adrenaline is a kind of chemical or hormone that is called a flight and fright hormone. And it's not something that helps you think, that helps you reflect. It's something that gives you a boost of energy for you to escape a flight, fright situation. That's what it's there for. And the way that it works is when the energy is released in the blood, it releases glucose into the blood to help us escape. And so what does that threat look like these days? The threat these days it's not like an animal that would be tracing us, trying to kill us and use us for prey. The threat these days might be you're at work and you are having a difficult time with your boss, or you could be in school and you've got a task to do and you're finding it difficult, you're having a fallout or an argument with some of your friends. All of these things can put you in the red, and then there's that hormone being released for you to escape the situation. And what we're not doing, we're not escaping. So what we do here, the trick is for you to do some exercise or do some activity. So, for example, if you're doing some walking or running or any exercise, then the body then the body will be using up the glucose or the sugar that's in the blood. It will be using it up, burning it all up. Then the levels will come down, the level of adrenaline will come down. And then the body thinks, in fact, that it's escaped the threat, that you've escaped the threat. So the levels of adrenaline come down. And because the level of adrenaline comes down, you feel calmer, you feel more in control of things. And then, like, then that feeling of low mood, you could go down, or you'd probably move across into the yellow or the green. That's what would always happen, because you've run off that adrenaline. So, and that is just really, really helpful, because then that means that you can move from one mood state to another. So it could be, for example, that you are in the red section because of a difficult situation. There's somebody that you work with, or a family member, or something, that each time you have an interaction with them, it puts you in the red. So what is it about that, the conversations or that relationship that's putting you in the red? And it highlights it, say it's something you can do something about. Now, if it's a friend, I would say keep a distance from that friend, because you want to really surround yourself with people that make you feel good about yourself, that you want to be with friends that make you feel over here, like when you part from them, that you are in the yellow or in the green. So it's a really good thing to do as well, to map your mood after you've been with particular friends or one friend, and then be more with the friends that leave you on the yellow and the green, not on the ones that leave, definitely not the ones that leave you on the red. So please, if there's any questions, then you can always ask, and I can do another video. So what would you do um, if you're feeling low, if you're low energy and you're feeling rubbish, or you're low mood? Then the hormone that governs there is cortisol. And so cortisol can be good for short-term targets or short-term deadlines. So when I say that, for example, like you've got a deadline, or you're revising for an exam, or you've got a project or a task that needs to be finished in a certain time, and then your body, your blood starts releasing lots more cortisol, because it gives you that focus and concentration that you need to finish that task. And this can be really good, because when you're in this section of the mood map, you can be also evaluating a relationship. Maybe you're split up from a relationship and you're feeling quite sad about it. And then after, when part of the grieving process, you'll start thinking about the part that you played in it, what you can put in place, what you can take away going forwards in future relationships. And this would be the cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone, a chemical that really helps you focus on completing deadlines. You can focus much more than it would have been for the adrenaline, for example. Adrenaline isn't a hormone, or isn't a chemical that helps you think and reflect. It's one that just gives you energy to escape the threat. But cortisol is different, because it helps you focus, and it helps you evaluate things. So any deadlines that you have, it's really advantageous. However, with cortisol, what's going on in these days, instead of just being a temporary thing that we use to help us complete a deadline, cortisol is there in our blood system for weeks, months, sometimes even years. And this is the damage, because we have these elevated volumes or amounts of cortisol in our body, in our blood, which then conflicts with our health, not only our mental health, but our physical health, and then starts impacting our organs, our heart. And that's when we start getting physically ill as well. So what I'm saying here is that with cortisol and with adrenaline, they're not bad chemicals if they are being used and you're using and they're in your body for a small amount of time. The problem is when they are in our body for large amounts of time, for more than 2 weeks or months or years. This is when, if you heard that phrase, that you're drinking the poison, that somebody else is doing whatever it is that they're doing, and you're drinking that poison and you're being impacted. Now, the good thing about all of this is that you can change your mood state. So instead of having loads and loads of adrenaline here, and I've told you what you can do to bring that a level of adrenaline down, any kind of exercise of activity that fools the body in thinking that you have escaped the threat, then the levels start going down and then your mood state changes. In a similar way as well, with cortisol, there's certain things that you can do to start bringing your mood over to the bright side of the map, the right side of the map, so you're in the green or the yellow. So let's just look at a few things that you can do. So in our mood map, and I just want to put it back onto the stage. Let's go back a few stages. Now, these are some of the things that you can do. Let's have a look. So here, so in the mood map booklet, when we're going through it with our young people, how can we change our mood? There's lots of things that you can do. So some of them here, as given an example, speaking with a good friend or a family member, watching a favorite film, watching films that make you laugh, listening to music, listening to your favorite music, singing to your favorite music. I'm going on to the next slide. I think there might be some other things as well, actually. Baking or cooking, gardening. That's not my thing, but it might be yours. Playing board games, that's not my thing either, but it could be yours. Playing crosswords, playing card games, listening or reading your favorite book. Let's go on to see. Sketching in a colouring book might be your thing. Going for a walk in the park, taking the dog for a walk, going for a jog, taking exercise, playing sports. All of these things, drinking water or praying, meditating, all of these things and more things, these are activities that we've used that will change the mood state. So how does it change the mood state? So here we have, for example, we're on the red side or we're on the blue side. The red side, there'd be more adrenaline being pumped around our body and our blood, and the blue side is more cortisol. And what's happening is when we start doing those activities, we then start moving to the bright side. So we then start moving over to the yellow side, or we start moving to the green side. So why does that happen? It happens because there's other chemicals that are being released in the blood due to these activities. And these chemicals are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So we've got the Fab Four here. So what we do when we work with our young children, and our young people, we encourage them to have a toolkit of activities that they can do. Now, young people, they usually know, they do things that make them feel good. A lot of them are into art, and they find that when they're drawing or they're doing a mood journal and they're mapping things, something is happening and it's changing their mood state. They know this already. In actual fact, that they don't realize the power that it has in changing their mood, because they think that, and I think it's with us as well, because I thought this before I started doing this, that if I was stressed out, that there was nothing that I could do to change my mood state and put myself on the bright side of the map. And all of these activities, like oxytocin, like the bonding hormone, they call it, it's a maternal hormone, because when women are breastfeeding, their child. Oxytocin is there. So it's the hormone that is prevalent in the blood, but also as well, it's a bonding hormone. So it's the hugging hormone, but you don't have to hug for to have the oxytocin be released in your body. You can still have conversations with friends. Have you ever spoken with a friend maybe for a few minutes, and it's that particular friend, you've had a laugh and you come off the call, and when you come off the call, you are you might be giggling to yourself, like, they've really changed your mood. So you've gone from red to red side, and you've gone to the yellow side. So this is what's happening because we've got more oxytocin in our blood. And now, when I talk about exercise, I'm not saying that you have to go to the gym and do all of this violent exercise and things like that. Just moving around is enough. There was a research study with a group of young people that were quite sedentary, and they were walking about 30 minutes to 40 minutes a day, not all at once. It was kind of like cumulative. And after 2 weeks, they saw that their mood had elevated. And in this same way, because a lot of us are sedentary, because especially since the pandemic, sometimes we're working at home, like lots of hours, 8 hours, and we're not having making the time to move around. And then when we are moving around, we could be walking, we could be playing a sport, we could be running, doing any kind of things. But what's happening is when we're doing this kind of thing, we are releasing these hormones, these feel-good hormones like endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. And it's these hormones that are changing our mood and bringing us over to the right side of the map, the bright side of the map. So consider it to be like a bank account, because like back in the day, I used to drink like Red Bull and to give me energy to do the tasks that I needed to do. And this is equivalent to going out spending with a credit card, because you have to pay it back sooner or later. And what I learned to do by measuring my moods every day, 4 times a day, I started looking at coincidences or patterns. So remember I said I was a science teacher, so I really like looking at results and getting the meaning behind them. And I could see where I was tired. I could see where I was getting stressed. So if I was tired, then I wouldn't be going out the next day. Whereas before, I wouldn't know that I was tired. So I would be going out the next day and, surprised where when I got home, I wouldn't be able to get up or do anything for several days after that. So, so consider it like a bank account, that it's good to have some reserves in the bank account. And there's certain things that we can be doing. And, just simple things like a bit of exercise. And also as well, food is important, what we're eating. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be eating sugary foods and sugary snacks, but there's certain foods as well that are really good for those chemicals, those hormones that we're talking about. And I'll say more about that in another video. But I'm talking about more physical things that we can do. It's that time of year, it's summer, even though with the weather, some of us might think that it doesn't look like summer. And we can go out and we can exercise and we can take in the sun, and all of this will help immediately develop our levels of these feel good chemicals, these feel good hormones that are really positive and really good for our mood. So in this video, we've talked about the JCF mood map and how we can use the mood map to not only measure your mood, but to change your mood. And consider that knowing what to do or who to speak with, what actions you can put in place, is such a powerful thing, because when we know what we're doing the exercises, we are speaking with our friends, there might be courses that we're going out doing that put us all over here in the yellow side and in the green side, because when the rainy day comes, or when I say rainy day, there might be something that happens. There might be a loss of a loved one, or there might be an accident, or a challenge in your life, really, that that brings you over here, brings you over on the left side. That because you've got those hormones, those feel good chemicals already in your bank, then you have the rainy day and it kind of like carries you along. Now, they say that the visual definition of depression, it would be that after 2 weeks after an event has happened and you're still feeling really low moods, then that would be depression. Now, there's a lot of things that will be happening to us. Like, a lot of bad things happen, and it's the way that we manage it. So things that happen that challenge our lives, like losing jobs, losing loved ones, lots of other things that might put us over onto the negative side. But because we know how to manage our mood, and we've already got some of those chemicals, those feel good chemicals in our bank account, then it's kind of like a little cushion. So I invite you to start mapping your mood. So you map it 4 times a day using our mood map. And then once you've done that, and you do that for at least 2 weeks, and then you can start seeing patterns in your behavior. You can start seeing certain people that would invoke so the main people in your life, when you interact with them, are they leaving you here in the yellow side, or they leaving you here in the red side, they're leaving you here on the green side or the blue side. So after every activity you do, see where it's leaving you. If you're working and your work is leaving you over here, then that's not going to be working for you in the long run. It really means that something needs to be done to get you out of that mood state and into this state. And it's really, really important that you're doing the right things, that you're taking exercise, that you're having conversations with people, you're doing things that make you feel good about yourself and are really changing your mood state and having you over in the right side of the map. Because have you ever noticed that when you're doing some running or you're doing some activities, that you actually think your thought process is different? So look at these chemicals that are in your blood. Like when you've got lots of adrenaline, I mean, adrenaline it's not even something to encourage thought. Adrenaline is a hormone that when it's in your body, you just need to escape. That's all it wants you to do. But with cortisol, if you ever notice the way that you think when you've just gone out for a run or you've just done some exercise, compared to the way that you're thinking when you're stressed or even when you're unwell. So that's the difference, taking time for yourself and making sure that you're doing those activities that make you feel good, that give you the Fab 4 chemicals in your blood system, that really kind of like washes over your brain and everything and changes your thought patterns and just makes everything more doable, more pleasant. So the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the endorphins are there really making a difference. So today we've talked about the Julian Campbell Foundation Mood Map and how we can use it to manage our mental health. So it's really important for us to ascertain where we are in the mood map. First of all, which mood are we in? And a lot of us, I don't know about you, but me, like 15, 16 years ago, I couldn't really say which mood I was in, probably until it was too late and I was just feeling really fed up, or I was stressed or something like that. But this is great because it gives you what you need for you to identify really soon on what is happening before it gets too stressful and you're overwhelmed or too depressed. Because sometimes these things can happen so quickly. And then before you know it, you just don't know how it got to be like that. But using the mood map, and when you're measuring your mood and you can see what the cause of something is, whether it's a particular person or an eating habit. We'll say more about that on the next videos. Then, this really gives you power. It gives you the ability to be able to stop what you're doing, stop being, stop, for example, if it's a particular person, you can distance yourself from that person. If it's that you're not doing any exercise at all, then make sure that you find an exercise or type of exercise that you enjoy, that you really like, that will really make a difference to you and increase these hormones in your body. So, in summary, I'm not saying that cortisol and adrenaline are bad for you, and I'm not saying it's bad to be on the negative, on the left of the map. I'm not saying that at all, because sometimes it's good to be low mood and high energy. Like, if you're doing a marathon, not a marathon or a sprint or some kind of like physical activity, then you've got that boost of glucose or sugar in your blood, and it just gives you that boost. And sometimes if you've got something more pensive, that needs your thought and focus and concentration, then cortisol would be benefiting you there. And also as well, like sometimes I've looked at something maybe that hasn't worked out, a project hasn't worked out, and I felt sad about it, and then I thought to myself, okay, then, but what could I have done differently? And that's what's going on here. But of course, like, you don't want to be there all of the time. And then being on the positive side as well, you know, all of those hormones, the positive ones, the Fab4 that I was telling you about, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the dopamine, and the endorphins, really promoted by the exercise that you do. So thank you for watching this video, and thank you for asking me to do a video on the mood map and how we use it to help with mental health. And just inadvertently, so many parents have said, like, we've given it to the children and young people so they can measure and manage their mental health and well-being, which of course is the first stage of emotional intelligence, as you get to know and manage your mood, and also know the impact of your mood on those people all around you. So this is the real beauty of it as well. So inadvertently, parents have said, yeah, but I've been using this for myself, I've been managing my mood, and I can see so much. So please, like this video, please subscribe to us as well, because we are a children's charity, and it's really beneficial for you to follow us, for you to subscribe to us, for you to write comments, for you to share with us what you want to see more of. It really benefits us and the community and the young people that we're working with. So thank you again for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing your responses. And please do share about any more information. The next video I want to do is a video on looking at the impact of the mood map and how we can use it to improve our emotional intelligence. So thank you very much for watching this video.